Time feels like the one thing that we can trust. The clock ticks, the calendar flips, and history marches forward. But when you look closer, you find some cracks. Periods of history that might not exist. Astronauts aging differently depending on where they are. Computers crashing because the planet literally stalled for a second. Tonight we're diving into real anomalies in time that suggest something is wrong. Imagine if 300 years of history never happened. In the 1990s, German historian Herbert Illig proposed exactly that. He argued that the years between 1614 and 911 AD, the so-called Dark Ages, were largely fabricated. His evidence? Gaps in historical records, suspiciously few archaeological finds, and inconsistencies in the calendar introduced by Pope Gregory XIII in 1582. Illig believed powerful rulers, including Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, wanted to position themselves in the year 1000, so they simply invented the missing centuries. Mainstream historians reject the idea, pointing to evidence like tree ring data and astronomical events recorded during that time. Still, the fact that the theory can't be fully debunked leaves a chilling thought. What if parts of the past never even existed? In 2015, astronaut Scott Kelly spent nearly a year aboard the International Space Station, while his identical twin, Mark Kelly, stayed on Earth. When Scott returned in 2016, NASA compared the two. What they found was stunning. Scott's body had actually aged a tiny bit less than his brother's. This wasn't science fiction, it was relativity in action. Time itself moved differently for Scott, traveling at high speed in orbit. Even more bizarre, NASA discovered genetic changes. Scott's chromosomes showed altered telomere lengths, his gene expression was different, and his immune system had shifted. Some of the effects faded, but others remained permanent. The twin experiment proved two things. Time doesn't tick equally for everyone, and leaving Earth can make you biologically different. On June 30th, 2012, the world's official timekeepers added 1 extra second to atomic clocks to keep them in sync with Earth's rotation. Sounds simple, right? Well, wrong. The leap second caused chaos. Reddit, LinkedIn, and Qantas Airways all crashed. Some servers froze, others ran non-stop loops. The problem was that the computers don't like a day with 86,401 seconds instead of 86,400 seconds. To them, that second just shouldn't exist. Since 1972, leap seconds have been added 27 times. Each time, scientists basically have to patch up reality. It's proof that even Earth itself doesn't keep time perfect, and humans are constantly adjusting reality to match. When the Large Hadron Collider fired up in 2009, strange things happened. Just before a major experiment, a burst of liquid helium caused a shutdown. Days later, weird rumors spread. Two physicists had suggested that the Higgs boson might travel backward through time to sabotage its own discovery. While that sounds absolutely wild, what they really argued is that the equations of particle physics allow for time to flow in both directions, and something about the Higgs could cause effects that ripple backwards. Mainstream science never proved this, but the fact that respected physicists even published the idea shows how fragile our understanding of time really is. Calendars are supposed to keep time straight, but history shows they often don't. In 46 BC, Julius Caesar reformed the Roman calendar, creating the Julian system. To reset it, he declared what became known as the Year of Confusion, which lasted 445 days. Whole weeks were effectively invented to realign the seasons. People literally lived through extra time. Later in 1582, Pope Gregory XIII had to fix it again, which meant skipping 10 entire days. October 4th was followed immediately by October 15th. Imagine going to bed one night and waking up in a completely different week. Time, as humans live it, has always been flexible, and sometimes governments simply delete or invent days to make it fit. The Mayan calendar famously ended on December 21st, 2012, sparking worldwide fears of an apocalypse. While the end of the world didn't happen, what's real is that the Mayan system tracks time differently than ours. They use what's called the long count calendar, which operates on cycles far longer than years or centuries. Archaeologists now know December 2012 simply marked the end of one 5,125-year cycle and the beginning of another. But what's strange is how precisely the Mayans could align their timekeeping with astronomical events, far beyond what most ancient civilizations managed. Their calendar works almost flawlessly with modern astronomy, raising the question, how did they understand time so deeply thousands of years ago? In June 1980, residents of Catania, Sicily, started noticing something odd. Their clocks were running fast, not by hours, but by minutes, every day. Watches, alarm clocks, and even public systems all sped up. The anomaly lasted for days before disappearing without explanation. Italian scientists investigated and speculated it might have been electromagnetic interference, possibly from secret military equipment, but no solid cause was ever proven. For one eerie week, an entire city lived outside of normal time. In 1971, physicists Joseph Hafele and Richard Keating flew 4 atomic clocks around the world on commercial jets. When the clocks were compared to identical ones left on the ground, they were no longer synchronized. Clocks that flew eastward had lost time, while those that flew westward had gained it. The differences were tiny, just nanoseconds, but measurable and exactly what Einstein's theory predicted. The experiment was a breakthrough. Time itself isn't absolute. It bends and it shifts depending on speed and gravity. Reality isn't just one universal clock, it's billions of personal timelines all ticking at slightly different speeds. In 1582, when the Gregorian calendar was introduced, Catholic countries skipped ahead 10 days, but Russia refused to adopt it until 1918. By then, their calendar was 13 days out of sync with the rest of the world. For centuries, Russia literally lived in a different time than its neighbors. Historians point out this created confusion in diplomacy, trade, and even record keeping. In a very real sense, one of the largest nations on Earth was living in the wrong year compared to everyone else. In 2010, 33 miners in Chile were trapped underground for 69 days after a collapse at the San Jose mine. The world followed the rescue operation closely, but what many don't realize is that the men reported something even stranger than survival. They lost their sense of time. With no sunlight and only dim lamps, their internal clocks broke down. Some swore entire days had vanished. Others felt like one endless night stretched on forever. Psychologists later explained that without natural light cues, the human brain stops tracking 24-hour cycles. Time becomes much more elastic, stretching and collapsing in ways that feel impossible. When the men were finally rescued, many said they had no idea how long they had been down there. For them, the calendar outside didn't match the one that they experienced. It was proof that time isn't just physics, it's perception, and under the right conditions, even perception can collapse. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I will see you again soon. Goodbye!